Yes, guys, welcome back to the LG Fitness Podcast. I hope you are doing well and I hope you have had a really great week so far. So, this week is the very first week since I started the podcast that I haven't recorded on a Friday. It's currently Sunday, just gone midday, and I'm getting the podcast done today. The reason being is on Friday, I just took a real day of recovery. Essentially, it's been a really busy week this week. I've had a lot going on, doing some extra little bits and pieces. Training's been going well. Training's been progressing really nicely. I've just got back from the gym this morning, did a chest, shoulders, and tricep session this morning. And essentially, yeah, Friday, I was a little bit fatigued and I just needed to make sure that I was well recovered for the weekend ahead. On Friday morning, I had a couple of clients in the morning. I played golf, and then the idea was to just chill, relax, and do nothing. I went to see one of my mates in the sort of afternoon, evening time, and on my way home, there was a lot of commotion. There was something going on my way home, and it was quite dark at this point, and there was like this loud noise of like almost like a drilling sound, but like a staticky weird sound that I've never really heard before. And I could see like these flashes of white light round the corner. And I'm walking down the street, and it's like I said, it's really dark. And it's the day after Halloween. So at first I'm like, is someone playing some sort of prank, but they're like a day late. And one of the street lights was just flickering. And it was obviously like this static sound that I could hear. So I thought there must be something wrong with that street light. And I was walking towards it, and I thought, I'm not going to walk under it just in case. So I crossed the road. And then as I crossed the road and looked down the road, there was what turns out was like an electrical box had caught fire, and it was sparking like crazy, like big flashes of white light, loads of smoke, loads of noise. People were coming out of like the takeaways, their houses and stuff, and just looking out, what's going on. And yeah, it was a lot of commotion, a lot of smoke, a lot of noise, a lot of all sorts going on. But yeah, it turns out an electrical box had like maybe exploded and caught fire. And yeah, it was crazy. And then obviously everyone is out there getting videos, getting pictures. And I thought, has anyone rang the police or the fire services or something like that? But yeah, it turns out obviously I walked home, and then the fire engines and everything was arriving. But yeah, it was crazy. So that sort of cut into my recovery day a little bit, because once I saw that, like heart rate increased, all of that sort of stuff. In terms of, spoke about it on the podcast before about that parasympathetic and that sympathetic system. Like when shit like that's popping off, your body is going to go into that sympathetic system, that fight or flight, just to keep you safe, and it's like a survival mechanism. Now, when you're trying to recover, you want to be in that parasympathetic dominance. So, yes, I meant to have like a nice chilled recovery day. Saw that kicking off. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So, yeah, it was a little bit less relaxing than what I'd anticipated or what I'd planned for. But yeah, it was interesting nonetheless. But the reason why I wanted to sort of tell you that as well was because it sort of leads on to what I want to speak about today. And that is partly down to recovery, but partly down. I've seen a lot of people, and I've seen many people fall into this trap when it comes to their health of fitness, is that thinking that more is always better. Now, for the large majority of people, doing more is going to be better. However, there comes a point where you simply can't just add more training or more exercise in order to get better results, because as I've spoke about before, recovery is really important. And if you're not able to recover from it, then you're either not getting any additional benefit by doing more, or potentially actually getting worse results as a result of doing more. So the way I look at it, if you're currently not doing any form of exercise, if you add in 1 day of training, that is a huge difference. That's going to have a massive impact on your health, on your fitness, all of that sort of stuff, by going from 0 to 1. Going from 1 to 2, again, is going to have a real considerable impact on your health, on your fitness, on your training. Going from 2 to 3, again, is more than likely going to have a positive effect. Then as we start to go higher and higher, so if you've heard of something called the law of diminishing returns, so the more you add, the less of a benefit you get from it. So going from 0 to 1, huge benefit. Going from 1 to 2, still a big benefit. 2 to 3, another considerable added benefit. Going from 3 to 4, again, it's still probably a decent amount, where if you can get 4 sessions in realistically, then I'd encourage you to do so. For a lot of people, getting 4 sessions is maybe not realistic, so sticking with 3 is absolutely fine. Normally, when I look at training, 2 to 4 times a week is the sweet spot for a lot of people. Now, once you get to this point where you're training consistently 4 times a week, adding a 5th session may or may not be more beneficial. In all likelihood, especially if your recovery is good, if your sleep's good, if your nutrition is good, going from 4 sessions to 5 sessions, you will probably see a small improvement in the results that you get. That's if all of those things are in place. If your sleep's there, if your recovery is there, if your nutrition and all of that is in place, then going from 4 to 5 is probably going to give you an additional benefit. Going from 5 to 6, on the other hand, again, for the majority of people, I'm going to say that's not really beneficial. To give you an idea into what my training looks like as someone that's maybe a little bit more advanced in terms of going to the gym and training, all of that sort of stuff, I train at the gym 3 times a week. I lift weights 3 times a week. I play football twice a week. So one is training, normally one training, 1 game or 2 games, however it works out. And then, so three sessions a week of weight training. So that's 2 cardio sessions essentially with football and 3 weight training sessions, 5 sessions. Now that is a good amount for me, because those 5 sessions are high intensity. Lifting weights in the gym, if you're training hard, then that is a high intensity workout. Yes, you're having a lot of rest in between, but when you're actually lifting weights, like that's hard, that's heavy, that's something that your body's got to recover from. Same with the football. Again, there's a lot of like high intensity. If you look at cardio zones, then you're probably playing in that zone 4. Maybe there's periods where, zone 3, zone 4, you maybe get into zone 5 when you do an all-out sprint, but realistically, you're not spending a huge amount of time in that zone 5 when you're playing football. But certainly zone 4 majority of the time. Again, high intensity, a lot to recover from. And if I add anything more, I have to be very careful about what I'm adding and how I'm going to add it to make sure that I'm actually recovering well. Now, what I tend to do is a little bit of zone 2 cardio, really low intensity, and I just tack that on to my weight training sessions. So I'll do, say, an hour of weight training, and then I'll do 20-30 minutes at the end of zone 2. Zone 2's really not much to recover from a central nervous system perspective. So you're not like super taxing your body. However, what I see from a lot of people is they're doing 5-6 sessions a week. They're doing classes, which fitness classes, they're not necessarily bad. And I think there's definitely some key benefits to doing fitness classes. But what you have to understand about them, generally, they're pretty high intensity, like your spin classes, legs, bums and tums as well. All of that sort of stuff, they tend to be quite high intensity. So it's a lot to recover from. Then you're doing that maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Then you may be going for a run. Then you're trying to lift weights in the gym, and you're doing 5-6 sessions a week, which are super high intensity. Now, if you're not getting results, if you're not seeing the results that you want to see, and you are training consistently 5-6 times a week, then training is not the issue for you. Simply adding more training sessions is not going to help you get results. If you're training consistently 3, 4, 5 times a week, then you should be making progress. If you're consistent in the gym, you should see your strength gains going up. You should see your fitness levels going up. You should see some form of progress with your training if you are consistent doing 3, 4, 5 times a week. If you're not seeing results, then it suggests to me that either nutritionally something is off, or sleep and recovery something is off. And what I tend to run into with a lot of people that do a lot of these fitness classes, that do a lot of training, that train 6 times a week, they're very on people. They're very on the go. So for example, let's look at a single mum, got kids, got a job, trains 5 6 times a week. That single mother is constantly on the go, running around after their kids. They're going to their gym sessions, they're getting all of this work done. They're constantly living in that sympathetic system, which is what we talk about, that fight or flight, right? And if you're constantly in that system, or certainly in that system the majority of the time, then your body's ability to recover is going to be impaired, because what we want is that parasympathetic dominance if we want to maximize the recovery side of things. That is essentially the system which is known as like rest and digest. So watching things on TV, stuff that you don't get really into, like trash TV, I've spoke about it before, like Love Island and shit like that, like stuff that doesn't make you feel on, stuff that you can get bored doing. Stuff like that is like perfect for rest and relaxation. And that's what's going to help you get into that system. And that's what's going to help you improve your sleep. That's what's going to help your body actually digest and assimilate all the nutrients and the food that you're taking in, which is going to, again, help from a recovery standpoint. If you're living in this sympathetic dominance, then your body is only focused on surviving until the next minute. So things like digestion, females' menstrual cycle, are going to be impacted on that because they're seen as non-essential. Whereas when you're in this rest and digest, then it's going to prioritize all of these things that are not essential, or not what it sees as essential at the time, but that's what's going to allow you to actually rest, recover. So simply adding more training to your schedule, especially if you're doing 5 6 sessions a week. If you're not seeing progress, then you need to start looking at, well, what am I doing outside of those sessions that's not allowing me to see the results that I want? Because if you're, like I said, if you're training consistently 4 5 6 times a week, then you should be seeing some kind of progress with your training, whether that's strength gains in the gym, your lifts are going up, whether it's fitness with your cardio, your PB times there, or all of that sort of stuff. Are those improving? If they're not improving, then it's not the training that's the issue. Now we can look at your training and we can look at trying to improve it in certain ways, and we can tweak it, absolutely. But if you're consistent doing 5 sessions a week, then it's not the fact that you're not doing enough training. It's the fact that most likely, and this is the most common thing that I see, is just you're not recovering well. You're not actually giving your body a chance to rest and recover. You don't put your feet up and just sit down and chill. Most athletes, you talk about like footballers and stuff like that, yes, they train hard, they're training every single day. What do they do when they get home? A lot of them just play PlayStation and play FIFA and, do you know what I mean, eat. Like, the best form of recovery, food, sleep, and relaxation are the keys to be able to do that. So it's not about, can I add more into what I'm doing in order to improve the results? It's, can I actually do less? Can I actually switch off at times? If you're able to do that, then it's going to maximize your body's ability to recover and essentially just get you better results. So I hope this episode makes sense. If you are struggling with your training plan at the moment and you're not seeing the results that you want to, then please get in touch. I'll be happy to have a chat with you sometime, maybe go through what your lifestyle looks like, how you can start to implement better strategies for recovery, how you can maybe tweak a program to get the best possible results. I'd be more than happy to talk you through that. Drop me an email, lewis@lewisgrahamfitness.co.uk, or you can drop me a DM at Lewis Graham Coaching on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and let's all have a great week next week. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.